What is up, you guys? Today it is my personal goal to show you guys your rules for life, your personal rules. You see, we have rules that were passed on to us from our parents. Just as we speak their same language, we learned our language, whether that's English, Spanish, French, by observation from our parents. We also picked up on the rules. So we were passed down rules that I want you guys to be aware of, because these rules may be serving you. They may also be unserving you. Now, throughout your life, whether you're 18, 22, 23, 50, 80, you also have developed your own rules through observation of others and yourself. And these rules may be serving you or unserving you. And I want you to be so aware of them that you get to start today creating your own rules for life. Thing is, for the longest time, I actually had rules that were unrealistic. And that was the root cause of my anxiety, my depression, my heavy thoughts, my behaviors that was clearly not in alignment with who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do for life. And through just becoming hyper aware of my rules and my standards for myself, I was able to transform them. And from there, I was able to move through life elegantly. And now I have the opportunity to live an extraordinary life. And I want you to get you there too, because you deserve to live that prosperous life. Now, I do want to welcome you back, or welcome you for the first time to the Prosperous Life podcast. This is a podcast to help you develop the prosperous life that you deserve. So let's get into it. Thing is, we all have the opportunity to transform our rules. Today, let's look at I am enough. I believe I am enough is a standard that everybody wants for themselves. Everybody wants to feel enough. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't feel enough. And it's through the rules that we've set upon ourselves that are making us feel unenough. Of course, other aspects can go into that, our thoughts, our emotions, our behaviors, the results we're getting in life, influence, environment, so on and so forth. But ultimately, we have the power to feel I am enough, and we can get percentages closer to feeling I am enough just through a couple rule transformations. You see, as I mentioned, you do speak your parents' language. We speak English, we speak French, we speak Spanish because of what our parents' language we spoke at home. And yeah, you observed that. And yeah, you do speak that, but you also have the opportunity to transform it. You could go learn a different language. You could stop speaking the language you know today all the way. And that just goes for our thoughts, our emotions, and our behaviors and our rules for life as well. We did observe them, and we do live them because our parents passed those down to us. And even if they're on a subconscious level and we're not quite aware on them, we're going to shine that light on those rules today that did get passed down from our parents, or the ones that we developed that aren't serving us anymore, even the ones we don't know about, so that we can transform. Because thing is, you do get to live and be who you want to be. And you do get to live and do what you want to do in this life. You don't need to be your parents, and you don't need to be your past or present self. You can move into the future being the person you want to be and doing what you want to do. The thing is, I might be crazy, and I do think I am crazy, because I like winning, and I like being myself, and I like seeing people win, and I like seeing people be their true, authentic self in this world. And the dreams that you're holding are not an illusion. The life that you're living is the illusion. You were told who to be and what to do in this world, and you carried on some rules that were passed on, whether they're your parents, society, teachers, so on and so forth, and you're living a life that everybody else wants you to live. And that's the illusion. So we're going to bring your dreams out through this as well. We're going to show you who you can be. We're going to show you what you can do in this world so that you can begin to live your dreams. It's not an illusion. It's just a choice to make it happen. Now, the first and most important is, what do you value? What is the most important to you? Today, we're going to use the example, I am enough, because to me, it's important that I feel enough for myself. I feel enough for this world. I feel enough for God. I believe I need to feel enough so that I can truly enjoy and live a fulfilled life, to live a prosperous life. But beside this, as we go through this system, with the example, I am enough, you can use anything you choose. It's going to take a couple of processes. It's going to take about 5 steps to get through this. But really ask yourself, what's important to me? What do I value? And just take a moment to think about that. If you want to go with me as I am good enough, then that's okay. But know that you can revisit this podcast anytime, or you can take notes on these steps and you can revisit it so that you can consistently transform your rules, because there's more than one in your life that's not serving you. So again, come back to what's important to you or what you value. Now, once you have what is important to you or what you value, you're going to come back to this question. I wrote this down. What do I have to do or be in order to be good enough? For you, it may be that family is important to you. So you could ask, what do I have to do in order to be good enough for family? Maybe education is important to you. What do I have to do to know that I've achieved all the education I need? You just start to ask yourself the simple question, what do I have to do, or what do I have to be in order blank? So for me, let's just bring it back to my past. What do I have to do in order to be good enough? My answer would be I have to be 100% for myself and others at all times. I have to be 100% for myself and others at all times. Honestly, I really did believe that. I felt like I had to be 100% for myself and others at all times because I felt like I was responsible for other people. I felt like I was responsible for myself. And when somebody else was hurting, I blamed myself for it. When somebody was having a hard day, I blamed myself for it. I was always trying to take responsibility for people, even if they were actually hurting me. Some of these people were not serving me. They didn't deserve a place even in my seat or by me. They didn't deserve a seat even in my own life. But since they were going through a hard time, a lot of the times I blamed myself. And since I wasn't 100% for myself and them, it was my fault. That brought a lot of anxiety, depression, so on and so forth. I wanted to save the world. And quite frankly, I do want to still save this world. And I want to make an impact on 1 billion plus people. And I will do that. But it's in a much healthier way. I'm actually able to be more of 100% for myself and others simply because of my transformation of this rule. So at this point, I think it's fair to say that we found ourselves an unrealistic rule. When you find yourself an unrealistic rule, it's probably causing you some heavy emotions, thoughts, behaviors in your life as well. So let's transform that. So you're going to go through the process of really seeing what's toxic in your life. And that's going to be the rule. Again, to take that back to first step, find what's important. What do you value? From there, ask the question, what do I have to do or be in order to blank? From there, you're going to be able to find unrealistic goals. This can be family, friends, career, money, self-worth, everything. This could be applicable to anything. But then you're going to understand. When I was going through my process of transformation for myself, I saw that if I consistently held on to this belief and this rule that I had to be 100% for myself and others at all times or I'm not enough, I would live a life of anxiety, depression, and I would never be good enough. I would never be good enough for myself. I would never be good enough for others, and I would never be good enough for God. Because the fact that I felt like I had to be 100% for myself and others literally made me not show up at all. I went in and I would hibernate, I guess we could call it. I went into my room and I would just hang out by myself. And that was essentially 0% for myself and others because I wasn't showing up for myself or anyone at all. So the thought process of not making an impact the thought process of not being the person I'm capable of becoming and doing what I'm capable of doing was painful. I mean, I even thought about it for my kids, and I don't have kids at this point, but I thought of it in a standpoint of kids. And it's like me and my wife, we want a boy and we want a girl. And we want to start having kids at 27. I'm 23 now. And there's a lot of excitement over the next years. And there's going to be a lot of excitements with kids. And when they move on and we're on our own again, there will be a lot of excitement there. There's going to be excitement throughout life. But if I can't be okay just being me, if I can't be okay just being in the moment and showing up for where I am at today and showing up in the way that I can for myself and my kids or my wife or whoever I want to look at, but right now it's for me and my kids, I don't want to hibernate away from my kids. I want my kids to have a dad that is present with them. I want my kids to have a dad that's happy to see them. I want my kids to have a dad that is willing to share his emotions with them. I want my kids to have a dad that's just there in the present moment, whether that's him having a hard day or having a really good day. Either way, I just want them to have a dad, so me, to be there for them. And the thought process of hibernating and running away, which isn't a way to transform, it's a coping mechanism that is not effective. So I recognize the pain of running away and really not being there for them. And I recognize that if I transformed this and if I was okay not always being 100% for myself or others, that I would actually be able to enjoy life so much more, because then it's just a matter of being me. Now, I'm not saying I'm okay with being negative Nancy or a negative Nelly, and I'm okay with not pursuing my goals, and I'm not okay with so on and so forth. No, this is just a matter of showing up for me today. What do I need today? If I'm not 100%, is that going to be, if I'm 80%, how do I get to 100%? Maybe that's working on my passion, my goals, my businesses, finances, whatever the case is, my relationships. But I recognize that if I transform this, I'll be able to be there for me, other people, life. I'll be able to live a fulfilled life so much more than not being in life at all. As long as I show up, I get to play in the ball game, right? If you're a soccer player, baseball player, football player, if you just stay home, you don't get to play. You get cut from the team. At some point, you die. And that's literally the way I saw it. I would die at some point. But just showing up, at least I get to get out on the ball field. At least I get to make my goals happen. At least I'm becoming the person I want to become through showing up. Showing up is the hardest part. The rest of that is just easy. So I recognize that as long as I show up, not necessarily being 100% all the time, but as long as I just show up, I get to play game. I get to play ball in my life, and I get to enjoy the journey. So I asked myself how I want to transform that rule. I decided, what do I have to do and be in order to be good enough, was just to show up. As long as I showed up for myself 100%, and it's not out of selfishness, but I put myself first. I make sure I'm 100% first, and I achieve my goals. I achieve the business goals I set for myself, my personal goals, my relationship goals, my life goals, my material goals, even my lifestyle goals, even. As long as I put myself first and I show up to play ball and I'm 100% for me, even if that 100% today is essentially 80% that it was compared to tomorrow, as long as I show up my 100% for today and I shoot to become my best self and I shoot to achieve as much as I can for that day, then I am enough. I just need to show up. If I don't show up, if I don't get out of bed, if I decide to sleep in and I'm not being 100% that I know who I'm capable of being and doing, that's when I become not enough. But I am enough as long as I show up every single moment, every single minute, every single day, every single week, month, year. Because as long as I'm showing up for myself 100%, I will win in life. And if I win in life, I know that that will automatically trickle down to my relationships, my kids, my wife, my family. And I will make a big impact on my family, and I will make a big impact on this world. But I simply come first. So now I needed to take action, right? This is honestly where I started my personal development journey, a big part of it. And that's where I started to pick up the books, the conferences. I started going to the seminars. I started even just getting on YouTube and Googling how to be happy, how to live a fulfilled life, how to start a business, how to make money. I started showing up fully, and I just started doing the work. I started being resourceful and using the resources around me. And that automatically trickled down from me being 100% for myself. And I began to feel enough. You know, I used to not feel good enough. I sat in my thoughts, my emotions, the behaviors that were not authentic to me and what I was looking to achieve in life, causing anxieties, depressions, thoughts of what is my worth here? Why am I even here on this earth? And through just transforming my rules of asking myself what was important to me, what I valued, recognizing that this was an unrealistic rule and what it was causing me, recognizing that pain that it was causing me, the pleasure of transforming, the pleasure and how to transform that rule, and what I actually wanted for life, and then taking action. Slowly but surely, I began to feel enough. And I believe you can feel enough. And whatever rule you decided to transform with me today, know that you do deserve this rule. You see, one day, one person can wake up today with a smile and gratitude that he's just alive. And one person can wake up depressed, sad, because he's not making $1 million a year. Same day, same experience, two different people. Your rules will have a lot to play to deal with your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors in this world. You just decide what you want them to be. Your rules don't have to be created by anybody else. You don't have to live a life that everybody else decided for you. This is your life. This is your opportunity to become who you want to be and what you want to do. You don't have to live in anybody else's illusions. You can live your dreams. You can live your prosperous life. I believe in you. With that in mind, if this podcast was beneficial to you, you found transforming your rules was beneficial for you, please subscribe. There will be many podcasts to come every Wednesday, dropping from 1 a.m. to 9 a.m., 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. in the morning, Mountain Standard Time, and leave a review so we can make an impact together. With that in mind, you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.